Summary of A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. A young woman named Nora Helmer brings things into her house. It's the night before Christmas, and a servant brings in a Christmas tree. Torvald, Nora's husband, comes out of his study and meets her. She shows off the Christmas presents she bought for their kids. Torvald tells her she spent too much, but he is also very sweet to her and calls her his little skylark and little squirrel. The two of them are happy because Torvald just got a promotion to bank manager, which means they can have a better life. Dr. Rank and Mrs. Linda show up. Dr. Rank and Torvald go into his study to talk. Mrs. Linda hasn't seen Nora in 8 years, but she tells her that her marriage was bad and that she's now a widow looking for work. Nora tells her she will ask Torvald for a job for her. Nora then tells them a secret she has been keeping from them. When she and Torvald were first married, she borrowed money to pay for a trip to Italy that saved Torvald's life because he was sick. She has paid off the bill in parts by working secret jobs and saving money from Torvald's allowance. Nils Krogstad, who works at the bank, comes to Torvald's study and talks to him. Dr. Rank comes out to talk to Nora and tells her that Krogstad is morally rotten. Torvald walks in and, after a short talk with Mrs. Linda, tells her that he can get her a job at the bank. Torvald, Mrs. Linda, and Dr. Rank leave. Nora and her children play happily. Nora tells the children to go to their nursemaid and not tell anyone about Krogstad's visit. Krogstad turns out to be the person from whom Nora borrowed money. He tells Nora that Torvald is firing him and that if she doesn't stop it, Krogstad will tell everyone her secret. He also says that he has proof that Nora signed an IOU with her father's name on it. Krogstad leaves, and Torvald returns. Nora tries to get him to keep Krogstad on the job, but she can't. The next day, on Christmas Day, Act 2 starts. Nora fears about her future while she is alone on stage. Mrs. Linda shows up to help Nora sew her outfit for a fancy dress ball on Christmas Day. Nora is going to dance the tarantella while she is dressed as an Italian farm girl. Mrs. Linda wants to know more about Nora's secret, but for now Nora won't say anything. When Torvald walks in, Nora tries again to talk him out of firing Krogstad. The more Nora tries, though, the more angry Torvald gets, and he decides to send Krogstad's notice right away. When Dr. Rank shows up, he is sad and tells Nora that he is going to die soon. She flirts with him, and it looks like she's thinking about whether or not to ask him for money. He tells her that he loves her, and Nora decides not to ask him for help. Dr. Rank goes, and when Krogstad comes back, he asks Nora if she told Torvald her secret and tells her that he wants to run the bank one day. He leaves a letter in Torvald's mailbox that explains the secret debt and fake. When Mrs. Linda comes back, Nora tells her what's going on. Mrs. Linda tells Nora that she used to be in love with Krogstad and asks Nora to keep Torvald busy while she tries to talk to Krogstad. Nora asks Torvald to help her practice the tarantella after Mrs. Linda leaves. She dances in a crazy, wild way that makes Torvald wonder what's wrong with her. Mrs. Linda comes back and says that Krogstad wasn't home, but she did leave him a note. At the end of the play, Nora says that she only has 31 hours left to live. The next day, Act 3 starts. While the Helmers are at the ball, Krogstad goes to the Helmers' house to meet Mrs. Linda. It turns out that they used to love each other, but that their relationship ended when Mrs. Linda decided to marry a richer man because that was the only way she could support her family. Mrs. Linda suggests that she and Krogstad get married now that their husbands have both died so that she can take care of his kids and they can live a happy life together. Krogstad is happy and offers to ask Torvald for his letter back because he now feels bad about what he did in the past. But Mrs. Linda tells him to stop because the truth needs to come out. Nora and Torvald come back from the ball after Krogstad has left. Mrs. Linda tells Nora to be honest with her husband, and then she goes with Nora. Torvald tells Nora how much he wants her, but she refuses to give in to him. Dr. Rank comes in and talks about how much he liked the party and the wine in particular. After he leaves, Torvald finds 2 calling cards in his mailbox from Dr. Rank that say he is about to die. Nora tells Torvald goodnight, then sneaks out to the hall and gets ready to escape and kill herself. Torvald stops her, though, because he has found the letter from Krogstad. He is very angry with her and says she has ruined his life. They will stay together to keep up looks, but they won't be happy, and he won't let her raise their kids. The maid brings Nora a note from Krogstad saying that he no longer wants to threaten her. The note comes with an IOU. Torvald is happy and says that he has been saved and that he is sorry to Nora. Nora, on the other hand, says that she was going to kill her because she thought Torvald would step up and protect her, which would ruin his life and career. She says that she has come to the conclusion that she can no longer live with Torvald, whom she thinks of as a stranger, and that she wants to leave to find out who she is. Torvald calls her stupid and crazy at first, but then he changes his tone and says he will change so she will stay. Nora is sure that she has to leave. Torvald is left backstage by himself, feeling sad. At the end of the play, Nora slams the front door as she leaves.
About the author. In Skien, Norway, in 1828, Henrik Ibsen was born into a rich family. After failing his tests to get into college, he decided he would rather focus on writing than go to college. But when he first started writing, he wasn't very good at it, so he and his wife were very poor. In 1864, he left his wife and 5-year-old son, Sigurd, and went to Sorrento, Italy. Sigurd grew up to be the Prime Minister of Norway. Later, he went to Dresden, Germany, where he wrote A Doll's House, his most famous play. After a few years of not doing well as a writer, Ibsen became more well-known, even though his plays were seen as scandalous and wrong. He went back to Norway in 1891. In 1906, after having several strokes, he died in Oslo. He is now one of the most well-known writers in the world, and his plays are put on more often than those of any other playwright except Shakespeare. People often call him the father of realism in theater, and he is also seen as a pioneer of modernism.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.